फिलांथ्रफी काफ़ी बड़ी वर्ड है, बट द ट्रूथ ऑफ द मैटर इज़ कि आप उसको सिंप्लीफाई करें तो इट इज़ लिटरली द आर्ट ऑफ बीइंग एबल टू गिव. दैट व्हेन एन अपॉर्चुनिटी प्रेजेंट्स itself to be of seva or to help somebody or to be resourceful to someone, it's very hard for me to say no. Go slow to go fast.
Hello everyone. Today we are here with another episode of She Mean Business, जहाँ पे हम women leading entrepreneurs की success story को सुनते और जानते हैं. So for today's segment we have Miss Tara Singh Vachani. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
I would like to give my introduction first. My name is Amrita Mishra. I am co-founder of Dark Choco Bits, and I am studying in NACT College, doing BBA, Business and Administration in IEV specialization, Innovation Entrepreneurship with Venture Development. So I would like to welcome you here. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
So before getting into journey and knowing more about you, I would like to have a feeling check. Is it fine for you?
Of course.
So ma'am, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling very good, very excited to be in conversation with you and also learn about your journey as we chat today.
So Miss Tara Singh Vachani, she is a chairperson of Antara Senior Care and she is the vice chairperson of Max India Limited. She has also played an active role in philanthropy and women education and also plays as a mentor in several prestigious boards like Teach for India and Indian School of Business. What was your take to just step into senior care, and what was the key points that you have faced challenges in your journey?
So, the journey for Antara, which is the name of our brand now, has been almost 13 years. And when we started the concept, लोगों को समझ ही नहीं था कि ये इंडस्ट्री क्या है, कॉन्सेप्ट क्या है, प्रोडक्ट क्या है, सर्विसेज क्या हैं. Because, as you can imagine in our country, the way family structures are and the way people think about getting older is to be able to do it within your home with your family. And the reason I found this space very interesting is simply because we are all going to be living longer. There are many people who are getting older living alone because their children don't live with them. The ability of people wanting a better quality of life as they get older and affordability in India is all changed in the last specifically 10 years, but had already started changing when I launched Antara. And so when the concept came, where I looked at the international ecosystem, America, Asia, Australia, that senior living and senior care was such an important concept in that society that one started thinking about why is this not something that we are starting to think about. So when we started Antara, we started as a concept of retirement community, a high-end retirement community. But since then to now, the business has evolved. We have multiple geographies of retirement communities, but also we look at assisted living, home care, and our products business, which is called Age Easy.
You have worked extensively in philanthropy. So what do you think that ये हमारी social life को कैसे impact कर रही हैं?
So philanthropy काफ़ी बड़ी word है, but the truth of the matter is कि आप उसको simplify करें तो it is literally the art of being able to give. Traditionally, it is giving funds, giving money to causes that need resources. But you can also think of philanthropy as giving time and giving energy to causes that need support in general. In a country like ours with 1.2 billion people, the government or the private sector cannot do everything. They cannot just between those two pillars be the backbone of how society runs. And that's why a social sector is extremely important to look at all of the gaps and then really galvanize people who believe in the power of giving to then make an impact. So philanthropy is something that I stumbled upon naturally. It was something that was a great opportunity for me to get involved in about 5-6 years ago. हमारी कंपनी का CSR फाउंडेशन होता था, 15-20 साल हो गए उसके. But I got deeply involved in 2019 to restructure our foundation, where now we have CSR funds of the company as well as our personal family philanthropy. उसको हम join करके we support causes in the education sector, and I think it is something that is very important for society. हर कोई को जिनके पास ability है to spare some of their funds to be able to give it to a good cause in the social sector must do it, and that's really the definition of philanthropy.
If you had to start all over again, then what are the things you have to do completely different?
So, I recently have been thinking a lot about all of the different roles that I play. In my professional space, Antara, which is, what we just discussed, the philanthropy, the foundation, being on various boards of other social sector organizations. And I also have a early years preschools in Delhi, which is a partnership with the original founder, Sonia Philip. And I came in as a partner about 5 years ago called Learning Matters. So I'm very passionate about the early years space. And then I'm a mama of two girls, and of course home life and friends and health and wellness. So जब आप देखें all the different roles one plays, it comes from this deep desire and aspiration to do things of purpose, कि हम कैसे दूसरों की लाइफ किसी भी तरह पॉजिटिवली हम इम्पैक्ट कर सकें. So what I would do differently is that maybe I would not have taken on so many things all at the same time, but because the aspiration is so strong that when an opportunity presents itself to be of seva or to help somebody or to be resourceful to someone, it's very hard for me to say no. So maybe one thing I would have done differently is to phase things out a little bit more rather than it all come together. I would have grown faster. आई फील कि हम पहले जो 5-6 साल में हम इतने फोकस थे ऑन द फर्स्ट रेजिडेंशियल कम्युनिटी इन देहरादून कि थोड़ा हमारा ना चैलेंजेस की वजह से, बिकॉज लोग लाइक आई मेंशन उनको कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं पता था, हमारे प्राइस पॉइंट्स बहुत हाई थी, हमारी कॉस्ट हाई थी, हमारी जो लीगल मॉडल था वो नया था इकोसिस्टम के लिए. दैट all of those challenges of building a category and building a concept from scratch and educating people as to why a concept like this is meaningful or important, वो challenges में हम थोड़ा slow हो गए growth में क्योंकि confidence थोड़ी कम हो गई. And I think that one should not let maybe confidence in those situations come in the way of growth when there is a conviction that the concept is going to be something that society needs. So I think that's one thing I would have done differently, specifically in the Antara context. Other than that, I'm, to be honest with you, very grateful for the opportunities and the way things have evolved.
There is some point when you just take any decision and people thought that this is not gonna work and this will not eventually lead some to big success, but ऐसे कोई पॉइंट्स जो आपने सोचे होंगे कि ये मूव मेरा इतना अच्छा नहीं होगा बट इट इवेंचुअली गेट अप इन अ ह्यूज सक्सेस.
In each of these three areas of my life आप देखें तो I can give an example. आप अंतारा में देखें, like I just mentioned, जो first 5 years हमने जो struggle किया, I really didn't think, I had conviction of the concept and conviction of the sector. जैसे मैंने बोला, all of the reasons of existence बड़ी strong थी, but जब execution का time हुआ and we realized इतना uphill task था to convince people, at least for our first Dehradun community, that at that time I really felt, how is this going to work? And then truthfully COVID happened. And जब COVID हुआ तो लोगों को community का जो value पता चला, वो outcome हमने positive देखा अंतारा देहरादून में, which is our first community. And that success since then is still fascinating to me. जब लोग बोलते हैं कि अब हमारे देहरादून में wait list है, many people are wanting to buy, अब हमारा पूरा sold out हो गया है वहाँ पे, हमारा अंतारा नोएडा भी sold out हो गया है, गुड़गांव भी. That sometimes I find it a bit hard to believe because it was so challenging, earlier. So that was one example. In Learning Matters, जो हमारी प्री स्कूल की कॉन्सेप्ट है दिल्ली में, एक्चुअली वी आर अ वेरी यूनिक कॉन्सेप्ट क्योंकि वी आर प्ले बेस्ड, मतलब कि वी रियली बिलीव दैट चिल्ड्रन शुड कम एंड वी हैव टू फॉलो द चाइल्ड्स लीड. हम अपना एजेंडा, करिकुलम, वे ऑफ डूइंग थिंग्स बच्चों के ऊपर नहीं फोर्स करते हैं. सो वी सी चिल्ड्रन कमिंग इन, वी फॉलो देयर लीड, कि जो बच्चों को उस दिन, आज शायद उनको पेंटिंग करना हो, आज उनको गाना गाना हो, आज उनको गार्डन जाना हो, वी हैव टू फॉलो देयर लीड. एज अ कॉन्सेप्ट जो हमारी इंडियन सोसाइटी है उनको थोड़ा ऑड लगता है, बिकॉज इवन एट एज 2 or 3 पेरेंट्स वांट उनके चिल्ड्रन नंबर समझे, अल्फ़ाबेट समझे, वर्ड समझे. दैट्स नॉट आवर कॉन्सेप्ट. सो इवन देयर वन फेल्ट ये सक्सेसफुल होगा कि नहीं होगा, but we slowly realized that there is a parent community that believes a lot like we do about child-led advocacy based for children. So that was another surprise story. And I think the third piece is in the philanthropy space itself, that personally, I didn't realize the impact that one can make, because you think the problem is so large to solve. जब मैं आपको ये दे रही हूँ 1.2 बिलियन पीपल, जब हमारी नीड्स आप देखें, फ्रॉम pollution to education to women empowerment to sexual trafficking, the list of problems is so long and the needs are so much that you wonder impact कैसे बनेगा. But once you get involved, you realize कि सबसे छोटी भी चीज़ can make a big difference, and so that motivates me to continue in that space as well.
आपको सुन के मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि अभी बहुत कुछ देखना बचा है.
एक्चुअली मेरे लिए भी इतना देखना बचा है, अभी करेंगे slowly we'll both conquer all the things we want to do.
Definitely.
So Amrita, I was thinking that your journey is also really fascinating and interesting. And we were chatting earlier about how that both your entrepreneurial ventures have evolved, and as you introduce yourself as an entrepreneur, थोड़ा आप ही बताइए in your journey of being an entrepreneur, what is it that you are doing currently with Dark Choco Blitz? How did the idea come about? And like you asked me, what have been the challenges so far as a young woman entrepreneur in this ecosystem?
So since I have a venture called Dark Choco Bits, which make customized chocolates. So when we start, like इसका starting का concept काफ़ी interesting है. जब हम लोगों ने start करा था तो we have thought कि we have seen actually कि लोगों को ना personalized gift करने के option बहुत कम थे, and gifting purpose हमारे यहाँ बहुत अच्छा market है. And since there is no such brand in chocolate customization, there are only home bakers. सो वी थॉट ऑफ कि हम लोग कुछ ऐसा स्टार्ट करते हैं जिसमें हम एक कस्टमाइज दे सके इन अफोर्डेबिलिटी, बिकॉज व्हेन वी वर किड वी जस्ट वांटेड टू गिफ्ट समवन अ बर्थडे हैम्पर और समथिंग, वी जस्ट वांटेड टू इट टू बी अफोर्डेबल. सो विद दैट कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ अफोर्डेबिलिटी वी स्टार्टेड अ वेंचर डार्क चोको बिट्स, जिसमें मैं और मेरा फाउंडर विच इज़ आशीष, सो वी बोथ जस्ट कॉन्टैक्ट टॉक कि कैसे करना है. तो हम लोगों ने एक हैम्पर से स्टार्ट करा विच सेज हैप्पी बर्थडे एंड सो एक्सो पर्सन नेम प्लेट्स. सो दैट रन्स इन लाइक अच्छा गया वो, उसकी अफोर्डेबिलिटी भी अच्छी थी, उसका वो भी अच्छा था. देन लेटर ऑन वी सॉर्ट ऑफ R&D प्रोसेस कि हम इसको और कैसे अच्छा बना सकते हैं, इनोवेट कैसे कर सकते हैं. और हमने चॉकलेट्स बनाना भी सीखा कि उसे और कैसे इनोवेट कर सके. सो वहाँ से वो आइडिया आया, एंड सिंस देन हम कई सारी वैरायटीज़, कई सारी चीज़ों में डील कर रहे हैं. काफ़ी यूनिक जो फ्लेवर्स हैं जो यूजुअली मार्केट में नहीं मिलते, वो भी वी ट्राई टू इनकॉर्पोरेट इन, एंड विद बोथ शुगर फ्री एंड शुगर चॉकलेट्स एज वेल. सो यहाँ से कॉन्सेप्ट आया. एंड चैलेंजेस ये आए थे क्योंकि हमने बहुत अर्ली स्टेज में स्टार्ट किया था, व्हेन आई वाज इन क्लास 11th और 12th. सो आई वॉज अ PCMB बैकग्राउंड स्टूडेंट, तो सिंस साइंस बैकग्राउंड और कॉमर्स की टर्मिनोलॉजीज मार्केट्स नहीं पढ़ा था, आई डोंट नो अबाउट फाइनेंशियल टर्म्स कि चार्जशीट कैसे फाइल करते हैं. तो सिंस स्टार्टिंग में हम लोगों को बहुत हेल्प लगी, वी गॉट इनटू मेंटर्स. उद्यम शिक्षा वाज बीइंग अ वेरी हेल्पफुल पार्ट फॉर अस. तो उन्होंने हमें हर स्टेप पे मेंटोरिंग प्रोवाइड करी. सो हमारे जो अर्ली चैलेंजेस थे वो सारे धीरे धीरे कॉन्कर होते रहे, हमें पता चलता रहा अबाउट मार्केट, वी जस्ट इंडल्ज इनटू इट and doing so far.
Super. But why entrepreneurship? I mean, I know why I was fascinated and motivated by being an entrepreneur. But आपके context में the idea of being an entrepreneur, वो आपको confidence और motivation कहाँ से मिला to be an entrepreneur, and also at this stage of your life?
Early stage में entrepreneurship term जब हमें introduce किए गए थे in our school days, in प्रोजेक्ट्स, तो हमें वो एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप टर्म एक्चुअली थोड़ा सा नहीं समझ में आ रहा था कि व्हाट इज़ एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, ये बिजनेस से कैसे अलग है. बट व्हेन वी जस्ट इंडल्ज इनटू इट, हम लोगों ने स्टार्ट किया, एक टीम बनाई, वी जस्ट ग्रुप आवर सेल्फ, और हमने एक आइडिया प्रेजेंट आउट किया, उस पर काम करना शुरू किया. तो इवेंचुअली वी थिंक कि ये बहुत एक ऐसा है जिसमें रोज यू नीड ज़ील, डेली ज़ील फॉर दैट, कि आपको उसमें डेली उठ के मोटिवेशन चाहिए होगी, और आपको अपने आप को बहुत ज़्यादा पुश करना पड़ रहा है टू अ लिमिट. एंड पढ़ाई के साथ साथ व्हेन वी वर डूइंग इट, तो हमारी नॉर्मल स्किल्स भी बहुत इंप्रूव हो रही थी. आई वाज वेरी इंट्रोवर्ट टाइप ऑफ पर्सन इन स्कूल, सो बहुत सारी चीज़ें इंप्रूव होती थी. तो इवेंचुअली इट विल गेट मोटिवेटिंग यू डेली, क्योंकि आपको डेली अपने आप को पुश करना होता है. एंड इफ़ यू आर अ पर्सन जिसे डेली का वो किक पसंद है, तो यू विल इवेंचुअली गेट इनटू एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप.
Super. No, I'm looking forward as we keep chatting, I learn more and more about you. So great, lovely.
Women in entrepreneurship often face very biasness, like often biasness. So did you feel anything, or did you like encounter any of these in your journey?
I often get asked this question, and I think जो मुझे पूछते हैं, they want some sensational answer. कि I really felt it or how difficult it was. I always maintained the fact that I was very lucky. बिकॉज जो मेरा इकोसिस्टम था और मेरी स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट जो थी इस जर्नी में, आई थिंक दूसरों से काफ़ी अलग है, एंड फॉर दैट आई एम वेरी वेरी ग्रेटफुल. आई एम श्योर देर आर बायसेस, वो तो ऑफ कोर्स दे आर, but I think somewhere in my daily, weekly, monthly life, I never paid that much attention to it, maybe because it was never that difficult for me in that sense. But of course, being a young, aapki tarah, being a young woman entrepreneur comes with two sets of challenges. I started the concept of Antara at 23. आप तो PCM study कर रहे थे, I तो did liberal arts, right? And even more further away from the idea of business. I had obviously watched, I come from a business family. I had watched my father and many friends and uncles and all of that build businesses. But देखने में थोड़ा सीखते हैं, but at the end of the day, till you don't do it, you don't realize. So 23, being a woman, wanting to be in a sector that didn't exist, and my sector catered to 60-year-olds and above. So there were biases. There was the age bias, there was the gender bias, there was the lack of experience bias. Then there was also bias coming from a privileged background, right? When you come from a privileged background where capital is available to you, people are available, infrastructure is available, वो भी bias होता है. So these biases exist, but I think when you have conviction, at least in my case, when you have conviction and a support system, you just take one foot in front of the next and keep at it. But one anecdote I share all the time is कि हमारा first project construction site, आप एक retirement community बनने में, you can imagine construction site है, 500-600 labor आती हैं, 99% are men. Projects team, 99% are men. Engineers, India में what the status is. तो I still remember जब हम अपनी project office बना रहे थे, before construction had started, उन्होंने एक ladies bathroom ही बनाना भूल गए. Because on project sites it's very common, right, for which women are going to come and use. And this is when I am the founder of the company, so I still remember that meeting, looking at the layout, saying आपने bathrooms तो बना दिए, but मैं site पे आऊँगी तो where am I going to go and use a bathroom? तो वो biases, now when I look back at it, it's funny, but it just shows you a representation of how people think and how it is important for people like you and I and all of your peers who are entrepreneurs and women and mine too, to slowly systemically change how people perceive women entrepreneurs.
Being privileged doesn't make you give all that you want.
Yeah.
So very proud of you that you worked so hard.
Thank you, and
So,
you too.
thank
But
you.
आप बताइए, actually, it's natural for me to also ask that having a male co-founder, also being a young entrepreneur, obviously being a woman entrepreneur, where have you felt these biases have come in? Are there examples or little stories you can share with us of?
I have, to be honest, I am also didn't encounter that much thing. But I have encountered age biasness. People say that you will look younger and what you wanna do. Just you are younger, पढ़ लो, बहुत आगे बहुत कुछ है. Like you might get a good job and a good setback. So these are the things that I've faced. But ऐसा कुछ male female वाला encounter
अभी नहीं.
इतना अभी नहीं करा है.
Yeah.
How do you see that future of women leading entrepreneurs India में कैसे evolve हो रहे हैं?
Very positively. There is no doubt in one's mind that the shift is happening worldwide. Some countries faster, some countries slower. The fact that we have these conversations and there are multiple such conversations happening in our ecosystem obviously shows that this is a whole space and area that is improving for the better. But I do think, and again I've said this before, so at the cost of repeating myself in other platforms, is this conversation around the evolution of women entrepreneurs or women in the workplace. I feel we are isolating men in that conversation, and I think till men are not part of that conversation in a deep, honest, transparent way, the shift is not going to be catalytic. जो हो रहा है अभी slowly हो रहा है. but we're not looking at it at a more inclusive level of getting men and working backwards into our education system of how homes and family structures are, where therefore the positive impact on women in the workplace and women entrepreneurship can happen in a multiplier effect. So I think it's positive, for sure it's positive, but I think there's a lot more we can do to fasten this entire space and process. But it's positive.
One piece of unfiltered advice that you want to give to like those who are women leading entrepreneurs who are just watching you?
You know, I think I will give two pieces of unfiltered advice. One is you can't do everything at the same time. ये जो for years now women who are strong powerful वो बोलते हैं you can do everything you want, you can do anything you want, and क्या हो जाता है that women then who actually try and do everything are disappointed and they are fed up and they are frustrated and they are exhausted. Actually, no human being can do everything at the same time. So I think women entrepreneurs or women in the workplace especially have to think about what is important to them right now and what are they willing to compromise right now for the longer term picture. Maybe in the holistic element of your life, you can have ticked all the boxes. Tick the box of a successful woman in the workplace, successful mother, successful wife, daughter in law, mother in law, all of it. But you have to look at that whole as a journey of 60, 70 years. That in that journey, have I been able to do everything? At the same time, to do everything and think you can achieve balance, sab bolte na balance, it's impossible. And anybody who tells you otherwise is wrong. So I think unfiltered advice, choose what is important to you right now and do that wholeheartedly, and know that a few other things have to take a back seat at this point in time. Maybe they will take a front seat later. And the second piece of advice is go slow to go fast. I think too much importance today is given to fast paced growth, fast paced thinking, fast paced strategy. I think to really build concepts, businesses, and institutions that stand the test of time, you have to go a little bit slow to ultimately go fast. That would be my second piece of advice.
What was the hardest no that you have ever said and why? Like biggest no, because सबको yes or no बोलना होता है हर जगह पे.
Actually, अभी मैं I'm dealing with a certain situation जो हमने starting में I talked about. आपने जब पूछा what would you do differently, and I realized कि मैंने इतना yes बोल दिया था in the last few years कि suddenly it's feeling too much. So I'm trying to step back on a certain role that I am, or a certain space that I occupy. I've been trying a little bit to adjust my time and energy there, and वहाँ पे no बोलना मुझे बहुत मुश्किल है. Though at the same time I feel very confident that I have over the years evolved into saying no very naturally. I know my limits, I know what I enjoy, I know who I want to be, and because of that clarity I'm finding saying no fairly easy as I am going ahead. But I think somewhere I took on too much, and so saying no in those spaces now where there were things I had committed to that I'm now trying to little bit backtrack, वो थोड़ा मुश्किल लग रहा है अभी. So but I'm figuring it out.
That's great. Yeah. Is Gen Z generation mein everything is shifting towards reel because everyone like crisp, short, and interesting concept. So our next segment is which called rapid fire. Okay. So I'll ask you some rapid fire questions and you have to answer them as quickly as you can. One word, one comment that describe your leadership style.
Compassionate.
Perfect. A woman leader that you admire the most.
Indra Nooyi.
Best career advice you have ever received.
Create something of meaning and purpose.
So one book that completely changed your perspective.
The Prophet by Khalil Gibran.
If your life would be a Bollywood movie, then what would it be a title?
Actually, why would I want it to be someone else's movie? एक brand new movie बने ना on my story.
Definitely.
So that's my answer.
Perfect answer.
Thank you.
One quote that keep you going.
This too shall pass.
So let's move to our next segment. Last but not least. So this segment called Put Your Finger Down. It's very interesting. You just have to put your finger down once I'll ask you any question. If you face any sort of problem, या फिर any sort of opinion. Since you are a running women leading entrepreneur, तो आपने बहुत सारे अपने बारे में opinions सुने होंगे, कुछ चीजें experience भी की होंगी. तो this is about that.
Sure.
Put your finger down if you have ever be the only woman in a boardroom. Okay, that's great. You have been told to be less emotional to work. Oh my god. You have had to prove your credibility more than your male peers.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so put your finger down if you have asked that how you will manage it all.
Oh, I keep all
Ha,
of.
3.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. You have any turned down an opportunity because of your self doubt?
Thankfully not.
You're a very confident person, I can see that. You have fought for equal pay.
Mm-hmm.
That's shocking. You have had.
Not necessarily for myself,
Oh,
but in my organization, yes, absolutely.
that's really very impressive that you are taking stands of other person.
Trying, yeah.
That's great. So, if you ever have to work twice as hard to prove yourself.
I don't know. Then it's not
Okay.
something I've thought about, so I won't put my finger down
Okay.
for
Okay.
that.
Fine. You have ever underestimate in a meeting?
I'm sure there have been occasions. Yeah.
Okay. So, you have ever fight for a seat in decision making chair?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh. Have you ever turned a PR disaster into success story?
I think I've gotten over PR disasters, but I don't know if it's converted into a success story or not. So I won't put my finger down.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, have you ever been to tone it down in any meeting?
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you so much for this
Thank
round.
you. That was fun.
And that's really very impressive. And I feel very blessed to be here and talking to you. Like, you're such a great personality
Oh
and
God,
very
thank you.
driven person. So,
Thank you,
thank you
Amita.
so much.
Now you're embarrassing me, and I want everybody here to also know what a phenomenal journey you have had. So while we talked about challenges that you have faced, what are also three top learnings that you feel, if you were talking to 10 years later, you were talking to yourself, what were so far the top three learnings that you have had as being an entrepreneur?
I have had 3 learning.
Hmm.
First is मैंने पहले स्टार्टिंग में सोचा था कि मैं भी हर चीज़ कोप अप कर लूँगी बट इवेंचुअली इट डजंट गेट जैसे मैंने सोचा था लाइंड अप.
Hmm.
Second would be you have to be consistent about whatever you are doing, like
Yeah.
whatever you are doing, even if you are doing and business, you are studying, you have to be consistent about that.
Hmm.
Third is you have to just trust the process that you are in.
Yeah.
First you have to just do R&D, jump into a process and trust the process, because everything आपके अंदर क्रेडिबिलिटी है तो वो इवेंचुअली आपको कहीं ना कहीं लीड आउट कर ही जाएगा. सो दीज वर द 3 लर्निंग्स फॉर मी जो मैंने अभी तक सीखी है.
और ये लर्निंग्स अगर आप सॉर्ट ऑफ कंसिडर करें और अप्लाई करें तो आप 5 years में आप व्हाट डू यू सी योर डार्क चॉकोब्लिट्स, व्हाट इज आशीष एंड योर विजन for this company? I think 5 years is a bit long because the world is changing so quickly. तो
Yes.
आप 3 years का बताइए, what are you envisioning for the business?
So I primarily focus on establishing the brand because there is no such brand in India for customization purpose. They are only home bakers. So we are trying to establish a brand in customization and we just try to take it globally. And right now we are just expanding in like 2 or 3 more cities. Cities.
Right. Okay. And when I asked you about your journey, you had briefly touched upon how you became an entrepreneur. You talked about the youth business idea that came into your school. But tell us a little bit more about that program and Udhyam's involvement and your involvement with the entire Udhyam piece and how this all came about.
सो उद्यम शिक्षा हमारे स्कूल टाइम से ही देयर वाज अ पार्ट ऑफ इट. जब हम लोगों को स्कूल में मेंटोर्स प्रोवाइड कर रहे थे एंड हमें जब जिस स्टेप पे भी हमें जो प्रॉब्लम्स आई है, आई हैव बीन वेरी प्रिविलेज्ड to just have these people on board because they have given us a lot of opportunity to shine yourself, to just outshine yourself into a crowd.
Right.
And just learning because हर step पे we were kid actually.
Yeah.
So we have to learn and rapidly because since we are just moving very fast. तो हर स्टेप पे वी हैड टू प्रोवाइड अ मेंटर जो हमें हर बहुत बेसिक चीज़ों से दे हैव टू गाइड अस अपॉर्चुनिटीज to outshine. And right now I am just working with like Udhyam as a community engagement head, so
to be able to pay it forward, because the benefit you have received, you can help others also go through that experience? Is that what a community lead does?
I am working in community engagement,
Hmm.
where we just engage like inside the community, because in community we have more than 100 students,
Got it.
and outside the communities, because we just have to collide them all, because उद्यम शिक्षा वो आपको ना एक प्लेटफॉर्म देता है जहाँ पे आप कंपनी के कैटलिस्ट और जो एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं, लाइक
Got it.
स्टूडेंट एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, जो वहाँ पे कनेक्ट कर सकते
वो
हैं,
intersections
हाँ,
किधर बन
इंटरसेक्शन
सकते हैं.
पॉइंट, तो
Got it.
वहाँ पे जस्ट वर्किंग ऑन कनेक्शंस.
Super, lovely to hear about your journey and really good luck. I think it's a great market because today the truth is that people like spending on other people. उनको gifting market is huge. And I personally like personalized and customized gifts. So I'm looking forward to trying all of your products. And all the
Definitely.
very best.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
It's lovely to hear you.
And you.
Thank you.